Hey guys, this is Blue Eyes Master 91, and I know it's been a while. Just with the holidays and other stuff going on, I got busy. Anyway, for the first video of 2021, I thought I would do a Dark Magician deck profile. So let's dive on in. So, for any Dark Magician deck build, you gotta have 3 copies of the man himself, the Dark Magician. He's just extremely useful and all that fun stuff. So he's a phenomenal monster in the deck and what the deck's built around. Next, we have 2 copies of the Dark Magician Girl. She is another phenomenal monster in the deck. She gains attack for every Dark Magician in the graveyard, including your opponent, so she can get big quick. Then we have 2 copies of Apprentice Illusion Magician. Apprentice Illusion allows you to special summon her, and you can get a Dark Magician from your deck when she's special summoned. But the more important ability would be that, say you're battling a monster that happens to be light attribute. Say it's a Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. And you have Dark Magician on the field as well. You send her to the graveyard, and now your Dark Magician's just as powerful as that Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. If it's a normal Blue Eyes, it's just a touch stronger, so you end up gaining the ability to go over bigger monsters that you normally wouldn't. So she's really, really useful. Next we have Mahad, single copy. Most decks have him at 2, but I'm not trying to spend that much money on him, I'll be completely honest. So 1 copy suits my purposes for now. His main point, or main effect, is when he is drawn from the deck, either during your main draw phase or any other way to draw into him. He can special summon himself, and then when he dies, you can special summon Dark Magician to the field, I believe. Yeah, a Dark Magician from your hand, deck, or graveyard. So he's similar to the Maiden with Eyes of Blue for the Blue Eyes archetype, except is honestly a little bit better. I'm not going to lie on that one either. Next, we have a single copy of Red Eyes. Red Eyes is just in here for the Red Eyes Fusion spell card, but aside from that, he serves no other real purpose. We have 3 copies of Magician Rod. Rod is a pretty good monster in the deck. When he's summoned, let me read this effect. When he's normal summoned, you can add a spell or trap from your hand, or from your deck to your hand. That specific list, Dark Magician. So that's kind of nice because he can get you Eternal Souls, Dark Magic Circle, Soul Servant, I believe, is another target for it. So a lot of really, really good targets. His other effect is during your opponent's turn, if you activate a spell or trap card while this card is in your graveyard, you can tribute 1 spellcaster to add this card to your hand. So not as good a second effect, but it's got a really, really good first effect that makes up for it. Next, we have 2 copies of Magician's Robe. Robe goes along with the Rod. During your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can discard 1 spell or trap to special summon a Dark Magician from your deck. During your opponent's turn, if you activate a spell or trap card, or effect while this card is in your graveyard except during the damage step, you can special summon this card but banish it when it leaves the field, and you can only use this effect once per turn. So he helps you get Dark Magician out quickly. It's actually it's a really, really good card. I wasn't a fan of it at first until I reread the effect. So next we get into the second engine that a friend of mine actually gave me the idea for, which is the Dogmatica package. So we have 2 copies of Fallen of Albez. So this is a dragon monster, so he fits for Dragoon. If this card is normal or special summon except during the damage step, You can discard one card, fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters on either side of the field as material, including this card. But you cannot use other monsters you control's fusion material. So he basically becomes a super poly with the added stipulation that he is the only card on your field that you're allowed to use for the fusion summon. So it's really useful, I think. It helps the deck out a lot because you're not relying on just one dragon in the deck being the Red Eyes. So, yeah. Next, we have a single copy of Dogmatica Ashinen. I know I butchered the heck out of that name. If a fusion synchro XYZ or link monster stirs, is sent to the graveyard except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand. This card is special summoned from your hand. You can target one Dogmatica card in your graveyard except this card. To add it to your hand, when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can make all Dogmatica monsters you currently control gain 500 attack. You can only use each of these effects once per turn, so this is another really, really solid monster. It lets you increase your own attacking power, and then it can be special summoned, so the fact that it's a higher level monster doesn't really play a giant factor. Next, we have a single copy of Dogmatica Nexus. This card cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned by its own effect. You can target 4 fusion, synchro, XYZ, and or link monsters in the graveyard. Special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, banish them. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles a special summon monster, destroy all your opponent's attack position monsters. Then inflict 800 points of damage to your opponent for each fusion, synchro, XYZ, or link destroyed by this effect. So this is another really good effect. It's really, really useful in dealing out burn damage to your opponent as well as kind of board wiping them. It's really, really useful. And then finally, the last monster in the deck is our Dogmatica add-in, the Enlightened. So this is a level 4. And her effect is, cannot be destroyed by battle with a monster special summon from the extra deck. You can only use each of the following effects of Dogmatica add-in, the Enlightened, once per turn. If a monster special summoned from the extra deck is on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon one Dogmatica monster from your deck except this card. So this is another really, really useful Dogmatica card. It helps you to not only thin out your deck, but to counteract and almost punish your opponent from using their extra deck. But that's it on the monster side of things. Let's dive into the spells. Starting with 3 copies of Dark Magic Circle. This is just a staple in any Dark Magician deck. Some players like 2. Personally, I think 3 is a really, really good number. When you activate this spell, you look at the top 3 cards. If you see a card among the 3 that lists Dark Magician in the card text or Dark Magician in and of itself, you add it to your hand, and then you can rearrange the other 2 cards any way you want. Or if you have no target at all, you can just rearrange the 3. The other effect is really useful because of Eternal Souls. Because when a Dark Magician is special summoned to the field, you get to banish one monster on your opponent's side of the field. So it's really, really useful. Next we have Magician's Salvation. This is a brand new addition into the decks, and it's a newer-ish card, so I'll go ahead and read it real fast. When this card is activated, you can set 1 Eternal Souls directly from your deck. If you normal summon or special summon Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl, except during the damage step, you can target one of those monsters, special summon 1 Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl from your graveyard with a different name than that monster. You can only use this effect once per turn. So this spell card helps you to resummon Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl. It's just a great way to set one of the copies of Eternal Souls in the deck, as well as just to annoy your opponent. Next, we have another newer spell, the Pierce the Darkness spell card. If this is also a continuous spell, Magician's Salvation is a field spell. So, for Piercing the Darkness, if you normal summon or special summon a non-token monster or monsters, you can draw one card. When an attack is declared involving an opponent's monster and a monster you control that is level 5 or higher normal monster, or was ritual summoned using a normal monster, was fusion summoned XYZ synchro using a normal monster's material, you can make that monster that you control gain attack equal to your opponent's attack until the end of this turn. So this is another really, really good way to punish your opponent for having big beat sticks. So say your opponent has an Orc Rebellion and the Orc Rebellion is sitting at 10,000 and you have just a Dark Magician on the field. You can make your Dark Magician gain 10,000 attack points, and then your opponent then takes 2,500 points of damage. That's a really, really good combo, in my opinion. Next, we have a single copy of Dark Magic Twin Burst. I really like this spell card. It's not used in a lot of Dark Magician decks, I will say that. But it allows you to target a Dark Magician you control. It gains attack equal to the combined attack of all the Dark Magician girls currently on the field and in the graveyards to the end of this turn. So it's just a really, really good way to get your Dark Magician big. And I think it's a really, really good spell because it helps to really bolster your attacking power, since Dark Magician might be a 2,500 attacking monster, but there's a lot of stuff that has ways around that. Next, we have a single copy of Successor Soul. Basically, with this quick play, you target an effect monster you control, you target one your opponent controls, they both go to the graveyard, and then you get to special summon a normal monster level 7 or higher. Oh, technically you would be tributing an effect monster you control. But you tribute one of your effect monsters, you target and destroy your opponents. You special summon out a Dark Magician from your deck, or even the Red Eyes at this point. And yeah, but the downside to this spell is that you can only attack with one monster, so you have to be very, very careful what you go with. Next, we have a single copy of Soul Servant. Soul Servant is definitely something most people play at 2 or even 3, but I pulled one in my first Legendary Duelist pack that it came in, so I didn't really care at the time about getting more copies than I should have. This quick play allows you to place on the top of your deck, from your hand, deck, or graveyard, one card that is Dark Magician, or specifically this Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl on its text, except this card. During your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard. Draw cards equal to the number of Paladinium monsters, Dark Magician and or Dark Magician Girl cards with different names on the field and in the graveyard. So this allows you drawing power, which is really, really useful when it lets you stack the deck. I think that's a really, really good card to have in the deck. Next, we have a single copy of Bonds Between Master and Student. This card is kind of the reverse of Sage of Stone, where if you had Dark Magician Girl on the field, you could special summon Dark Magician. This Bonds Between Master and Student allows you to special summon Dark Magician Girl if you have a Dark Magician on the field. And after that, you can set Dark Burning attack, Dark Magic attack, Dark Burning attack, Dark Burning Magic, or Dark Magic Twin Burst directly from the deck onto your field. But you can only use this spell once a turn, so it's really useful in setting up for the end of the match. Basically, it helps you set up that end game win. Next, we have 2 copies of Ayatomayas. Ayatomayas is just a fusion aid. It allows you to use Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl to fusion summon. We'll get into that here in a little bit. But he can also be used to fusion summon into a copy of Dragoon. Next, we have a single copy of Fusion Deployment. Deployment just allows you to reveal a fusion monster in your extra deck to special summon one of the monsters listed on it. I absolutely love the spell because it lets you, especially if you don't have a great opening hand, but you have that, it allows you to summon something from the deck. It does lock you into fusion monsters for the turn, which is not a big deal. And you can only activate it once a turn. So it's honestly, in my opinion, one of the better fusion aid spells that's come out recently. Next, we have a copy of Secrets of Dark Magic. This quick play spell card allows you to fusion summon or ritual summon any Dark Magician monster, basically. I'll read the text, even though I'm sure people know what it does. Fusion summon one fusion monster from the extra deck using monsters from your hand or field, including Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl as material. Or ritual summon one ritual monster from your hand by attributing monsters from your hand or field, including Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl, whose total levels equal or exceed the ritual monsters. So basically, it just lets you either ritual or fusion summon. You can only use one of the effects, but the way this deck is built, it is strictly for the fusion effect. So next we have a single copy of Super Polymerization. This card is fantastic because of how I have this deck built. It is just a phenomenal card. Super Poly has always been a really good card, though, and in this deck it's no different. Next we have a single copy of Strength and Unity. This is another card that is newer into the deck. It's a continuous spell. If you ritual or fusion summon using Blue Eyes White Dragon or Dark Magician, you can target one card your opponent controls in their graveyard and banish it. You can send this face-up card from the field to the graveyard, then target one level 7 or higher normal monster in your grave, add it to your hand, or shuffle it into the deck. So this allows you to recycle as well as banish stuff from your opponent's graveyard. Next, we have a single copy of Raigeki for a generic board wipe. We have a single copy of Harpy's Feather Duster for generic back row removal, and our copy of Red Eyes Fusion, which allows you to very easily and very quickly go into Dragoon. So that is it for the spells. Let's get into the traps. So I've already said it, but I run 3 copies of Eternal Souls. This is just a really, really good recycling trap, since it, in combination with Dark Magic Circle, allows you to resummon a Dark Magician and then banish something on your opponent's field. I think that is a fantastic combination. It also has the effect that you can set a spell or trap card that specifically lists Dark Magician on the title. Oh wait, no, it's you add it to your hand. I'm possibly confusing it with True Light, the Blue Eyes equivalent. Next, we have 2 copies of Magical Navigation. Navigation is a pretty good trap. It allows you to special summon a Dark Magician from your hand, and then you get to special summon a level 7 or lower Dark Spellcaster from your deck. If you control a Dark Magician except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card, then target one face-up spell or trap your opponent controls. It has its effects negated until the end of the turn, so it's a special summoning weapon, and then it also can negate a spell or trap on your opponent's field. So it's really, really useful. Next, we have Dark Renewal, which allows you to tribute when your opponent normal summons or special summons a monster, target one of those monsters and one spellcaster you control, send both to the graveyard, then you can use special summon one Dark Spellcaster monster from your deck or graveyard. So Dark Renewal is really useful in resummoning Dark Magician to your side of the field by getting rid of something your opponent may have summoned, and something that you don't need on your field, like a Robe or a Magician's Rod. Next, we have a single copy of Magician's Combination. This trap card has been the bane of my dueling existence since it came out. Once per turn, when a card or effect is activated except during the damage step, you contribute one Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl, special summon one Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl from your hand or graveyard with a different name than the attributed monster, and if you do, negate that activated effect. If this face-up card is sent from the spell and trap zone to the graveyard, you can destroy one card in the field. So it allows you to negate negate effects. It allows you to basically do monster swap in a sense, because you get rid of one monster for another, and then you when it's destroyed, you can take something on the field with it. And then finally we have Mirror Force, just as a generic trap card to board wipe your opponent. So that's it for the main deck. Let's dive into the extra deck real quick. So first up is one of the staples of the deck, Dragoon. I don't think I really need to get into details about Dragoon. It is a stupidly good card and is in the meta for a reason. Next we have 2 copies of Dark Paladin. He is another really, really good card. I don't think I need to say a lot about him either, because he's been around for years. I will say with a lot of decks using Dragon Links now, he's actually really, really useful, because he gains attack points for every dragon on the field and in both graveyards. So I think he's useful in the deck. A lot of people won't play him, but I find use for him. Next we have a single copy of Dark Magician the Dragon Knight. This is just a generic-ish fusion. This fusion summon card becomes Dark Magician while on the field and in the graveyard. Your opponent cannot target spell or trap cards you control with effects. Also, they cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. So, this basically protects your back row from destruction. Next, we have a single copy of Dark Calvary. Calvary is another decent card. It gains 100 attack for each spell or trap card on the field and in the graveyard. If this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing damage. When a card or effect is activated that targets a card on the field, quick effect, you can discard one card, negate the activation, and destroy the card. So he is a negate and a piercer, which is fantastic. Next we have 2 copies of Dark Magician Girl, the Dragon Knight. She must be fusion summoned with the above materials listed. Just use Ayatomayas. Once per turn, quick effect, you can send one card from your hand to the graveyard, then target one face-up card on the field, destroy it. So she lets you destroy stuff. Next we have Amulet Dragon, which is another card to be summoned out using Ayatomayas. There's a lot of those in this deck, I will say that. Must be fusion summoned with the above material with Ayatomayas. If this card is special summon, target any number of spells in any graveyard, minimum of 1. Banish those targets, and if you do, this card gains 100 attack for each banished card by this effect. If this card is destroyed, you can target one spellcaster in the graveyard and special summon it. So he lets you get rid of spells in your opponent's graveyard, and then when he dies, you get to re-summon Dark Magician. It's a really, really good card for the deck. Next we have our Super Poly target, Starving Venom. Starving Venom is a fantastic card. He's been in and out of the meta. I don't think I really need to say a whole lot about him. Next we have 1 copy of Ebon Illusion Magician. He is a rank 7, so you need 2 level 7 monsters to summon him. You can only XYZ summon this card by using a rank... Oh, you can also special summon XYZ summon this card by using a rank 6 Magician XYZ monster you control as material. And then you would transfer the materials to this card. Once per turn, you can detach 1 XYZ material from this card. Special summon a spellcaster normal monster from your hand or deck. When a spellcaster normal monster declares an attack, you can target 1 card in your opponent controls, banish it, and you can only use this effect once per turn. So he's really useful in just special summoning stuff out. Next, we have 2 copies of Ebon High Magician. While this card has XYZ material, you can activate a quick play spell card or a trap card from your hand during your opponent's turn by detaching 1 material from this card at activation. If this XYZ card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, or if this XYZ card you control is sent to your graveyard by an opponent's card effect, special summon 1 dark spellcaster monster from your hand or deck. Then you can destroy 1 card in the field. So he's another really good board wipe. And yeah. Next we have a single copy of Red Eyes Flare Metal. He's just really good for burning damage. I don't really think I need to get into too much details with him because his other effect is not useful in this deck. And then we have a single copy of Boral Sword to do Boral Sword things. So that is it for this deck. I'm sorry this one is a little longer, but there's a lot of cards that I recently added into this deck, and I didn't even know the effects of them yet, so I had to kind of read them out loud so that way I would remember later. But, alright, I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.